Welcome, everybody, to the
Hello.
6th Owlboy anniversary.
Yes.
Yeah, we never know how to start these intros. Welcome to the Owlboy 6th anniversary.
Hooray.
So it's now been 6 years
Yes.
since Owlboy was released.
Yes. It's kind of hard to fathom, but yes.
This is a celebration that we do every single year to mark the release of Owlboy and also the rest of D-Pad's projects moving forward. And it's certainly been an interesting year.
Yes, we have finally announced a new game.
Yeah, Vikings and Trampolines is actually out for everyone to see, finally. That's been weird. Should we talk a little bit about that before we start?
Yes. So it started when we decided to go to Gamescom. This has been our first Gamescom as well. And a little bit of ahead of time, we decided, okay, it's time to do a big old announcement. And we created a trailer.
Oh, the trailer. That was it. That was an adventure in itself. So
Yeah.
Vikings has been in development for a very long time. I believe, what is it now, the 11-year anniversary?
Yes. So we started working on it as a team back in 2011. And we've been it's been dormant since then until we picked it up a couple of years ago. We didn't start like 100%, but we kind of picked up the pieces and started thinking, what can we do with this game?
And then we met up in LA and we had this idea that, okay, it's finally time to finish Vikings. Finish. A difficult word for D-pad. But we've now actually moved ahead quite a lot with development. And we were at a point where we were saying, okay, we actually have so much in this game now that we can finally show it off, which is a monumentous occasion because we tend to take a lot of time for what we're doing. And then as we were moving closer towards the final version of the game, we started working on the trailer. And I believe that took about a year.
Yeah. We started, just planning how are we even gonna announce this game? Are people gonna be like, there's no owls in it? So we were, like trying to figure out exactly how to explain what the game is about, which incidentally, for such a simple concept, takes a lot of time to just get across what the game is.
Yeah, just the fact that, it's a game where you are Vikings who jump on trampolines and you try not to fall off the trampolines and you only use a single stick to control that. It's surprisingly difficult to get that point across. But then we finally did announce the game about a week before Gamescom. And in doing that, we ended up actually being there and showing it to people physically. And that's something that has always worked out in Vikings' favor. We've been talking about this for years. Just jumping back to Owlboy, the way that Owlboy worked out for a couple of years is that it's really notoriously difficult to show at conventions because you kind of have to sit down and get into the mood and learn the mechanics and explore the world and everything. And when you're at a game convention, that's surprisingly difficult to do.
Yes.
It's like when you play horror games at a convention, it's notoriously difficult because you need to get into that mode.
Yeah, you're kind of in the wrong environment for that type of game.
But Vikings, on the other hand, we brought that to Gamescom and people were just loving the hell out of it.
Yeah.
We had we had like parents like bringing their kids over several times. We had boyfriend and girlfriend just settling their arguments around it.
Yes. So it's been interesting to say the least. It's the first time we've been able to like show it officially. We've been bringing it to smaller type conventions locally, but never on a big convention like that.
So it's certainly been an interesting year for that. On top of that, we have, well, honestly, we teased this last year, but we have a couple of projects that we're looking at right now. Um, and we might be hinting a little bit about what those could potentially be moving forward. But for now, I think we'll try to keep it a bit of a secret.
So for Vikings, we're not gonna show too much from the game, but we are every Wednesday we're going to talk a little bit about it on our Vikings on Trampolines Twitter. So follow us there. We're going to drop hints of what the game is about, but we're not ready to show the big bucks just yet.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot more moving forward.
Yes.
One of the things that we've shown very little is the adventure mode, which we're very proud of. So the game, of course, we started it off as more of a brawler type game, and all of that's in there, and we're going to be showing that to you very soon. But at the same time, the adventure mode is this whole sprawling world that you get to explore with mini games and boss fights and challenges. So we're really excited to be able to show that a little later.
Yeah.
On social media, we asked you if you had any questions that we could use for the Q&A, so we will be doing that during today's stream. And on top of that, we will also be sharing some news about merch that's coming up and some old fan favorites that will be coming back in stock. It's time for the Q&A session of the live stream.
Yeah.
Where we'll be reading up the questions that you guys have sent us, and we'll see if we can get some interesting answers out of that. So, Joe, what is the first question?
So one of the first questions is, what area in the game was the hardest to create?
Ooh.
Well, a lot of areas were cut.
Yeah.
Making them, automatically putting them on the list. But there was one area in particular that we had to redo so many times. Tropos.
Yes.
We had so many plans for Tropos. It was going to be, when we first started, it was going to be kind of the open world aspect of Owlboy. And it was huge. So huge, in fact, that we decided to, shrink it down by 90%.
Yeah, the earliest sketches. So, I mean, of course, Owlboy was in large part inspired by a lot of other games, Zelda being one of them. And the entire idea was that we wanted an entire area that you could just kind of walk into and find things. And there was a lot in this early version that I do believe were really good ideas, but in order to execute them, it would be really daunting.
Yes. So, we decided to cut, put them into segments instead. Tropos and Stratos, which is two different areas in the final game. But back then they were like one area. And they were so huge, we had like quick travel options. The cannon minigame is actually the way that you were supposed to quick travel across Tropos. We had a guy on a boat that could take you to different places.
Yeah, I think the community has actually data mined that guy, and
Yes.
he's shown up a couple of places. The idea was, if you've seen that platform that you get to when you just exit Valley, that platform was supposed to house the cannon originally. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's some screenshots somewhere where you can actually see that.
Yes.
And the reason why you move around in the cannon minigame the way that you do is because you do sort of this gliding motion to sort of guide you to where you want to land instead.
Yes.
But there were a couple of really interesting ideas there. For example, we had an area where if you walked into it, you were covered in fog. There was one area that was just a giant labyrinth of rock formations where you would go behind the scenery, so you wouldn't be able to see where you went.
There was a couple of bosses in the open area as well.
The Algros.
The Algros, which was a giant shell
Yeah.
with wings.
It was sort of like a slime clam that you needed to bait it into opening its mouth. Inside was sort of an eye, and then we were supposed to blow that up. And we mentioned this, I believe, a year ago, but the entire idea for that was that you're supposed to unlock Cornell as the fourth gunner and
Yes.
then use her explosives to kind of blow it up.
Yeah, and we when we cut Kernel, we decided, okay, how about you use Getty? He has a hammer, so he can like smack the shell apart.
Yeah, the animations for that are still in the game.
Yeah.
In fact, the beta version of that, because we had a test where you can like throw Getty and he holds like a hammer that like it expands into this giant hammer, and when he hits something, he does like a hit attack. But uh, the beta version for that was the one that we used when he just kind of knocks on his the mini cannon down
Yeah.
at the in Valley. So when we prototyped that, just imagine that hammer animation where he's just like doing this kind of thing, uh, but on a boss that's like lying there knocked out with its eyes spinning. It was really weird to look at because he like have these giant damage frames, but it's just like Getty doing this little like.
Yes. So Tropos was definitely the hardest one to, like finish up.
Hmm.
We had a couple of areas that we created as well that we had to drop in its entirety. We could show that next anniversary, I
Probably.
suppose.
I think the one that was very ambitious, and looking back now, I think we were absolutely insane for thinking that we could do that. But the tower basement,
Oh yeah.
because that was now I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the tower basement had an entire section. Like when you got into the final areas of the game, the uh, the entire mechanic was that you can't fly in that area. And what happened was you have this chasm that you have to jump across. And of course, since you can't fly, you will naturally just fall into it. And in there, you meet all sorts of abominations and experiments, and it was just a giant trash compactor with saw blades and everything.
Yeah.
And then once you get through all of that, and that area was enormous, it was almost just the basement itself was double the size of
Yep.
some dungeons. But once you got out of that, then you get into the tower proper, and there we had this entire section where you get into this owl mech suit thing and have to use electricity to power like uh what was it, like power lines and stuff to
Yes.
get machinery to operate. And of course you couldn't fly there either, but you had this mech suit with a giant sword that you could use to duel other mechs.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how we thought that, oh, this is reasonable, we'll get this done.
I mean, it was close to done, but the thing is that whenever we played it, it felt like this is taking Otis on a journey that we can't really polish to the point where we're happy with it.
Yeah, and it also, uh, and I guess this comes from the fact that we figured out sort of what the red threads of the story were going to be towards the end of development. But looking back at it now, if you think about it, what would the theme be that would make sense for Otis to like? On one hand, okay, we have now introduced this whole area that shows an aspect of the ancient owls that it's very strange.
Mm.
It's very strange for them to be making all of these horrible, awful things inside, one of their most important structures. But then you get up to the higher levels. On one hand, okay, why did the ancient owls make like an entire army of like rideable mechs? That's one thing. Second was we were considering having the pirates invade that part of the building. That seems like a strange choice for them to do at that very second. And then if you think about it in terms of Otis's personal journey during this point, what does that say thematically that Otis temporarily gets a mech suit
Yeah.
and starts like sword dueling with these giants?
Yes. Exactly. I mean, the entire story is revolved around the fact that Otis can't really fend for himself. he needs his friends to do it. So it would feel pretty weird to give him this sword wielding, super powered mech.
It got really weird.
Yeah, so the question was from Astral Slash. You are in our giveaway competition. We're going to announce winners at the end.
Next question.
Yes, from Joachim Eldre. Hi D-Pad, would Dracula, Viking, or Owl win on a trampoline?
I'm assuming that by Dracula he's talking about my weird experiment of Donny Friday.
Yeah, I would assume so.
I guess I should contextualize that for those that haven't paid attention to that. I did a side project where every Friday I make a little cartoon of a character called Donovan Friday that announces that it's Friday. And that's
Can you do the It's Friday Night voice?
live?
Yes.
It's Friday night! Ha!
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, but I'm guessing like if you drag that over and you put both Otis and Donovan in Vikings on trampolines, who would win?
I mean, Donnie's got superpowers on top of everything.
That's a good point. I haven't said that publicly, but like Donovan is like insanely powerful.
Yeah.
Like we're talking like beyond One Punch Man type powerful, like absurdly. I've written him to be like scary strong.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I was actually about to say that I think that the Vikings would absolutely crush everyone because they all share 6 brain cells and would probably just not feel pain. But now that you mention it, Donnie would be scary.
I think so too. Plus, Donnie can fly, so so he doesn't really need those trampolines, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean Otis can fly,
Oh, that's true.
but I think one kick from Donovan would be like no.
Yeah.
That it's kind of a set. Okay, you know what? Let's recontextualize the question because now it feels unfair. What about the Owlboy team? That is Otis, Geddy, Alphonse, and Twig
Yeah.
against the Vikings team.
Yeah.
Red, blue, green, and yellow.
I guess the Vikings would have an upper advantage.
You think so?
Yeah.
So Otis can fly.
Yeah.
The Vikings can't fly. I'm assuming that the Owlboy crew doesn't get to use their weaponry,
No.
because in that case, Alphonse could like use a shock.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, okay, Alphonse, without going into spoilers, can probably take a lot of beating.
I think so too.
However, Green,
Yeah, she's definitely his size.
and I feel like Yellow would play dirty.
Yes.
That would be an unfair fight in a lot of ways. Red, I think you could like kick him till the end of the universe and he wouldn't even register it.
Probably. Huh.
And I'm not so concerned about Blue, but I'm more concerned about his seagull.
Yeah.
That would be the dangerous opponent there.
Yeah. Especially for Otis, I suppose.
Yeah. Actually, that's a really difficult one. I don't know who would win that.
No. Huh. I guess it comes down to who can, bounce the longest. It's a tie. Okay, next question. From Kuhemi Pixel Art. Would love to know what was the process of creating Owlboy's story, and if you have any tips for anyone writing a story for their game.
That's a really good question, because Owlboy was created. Um, so there's a difference between what we wrote and sort of the guiding principle behind the game. Um, like originally, Owlboy was something that I came up with, and I would be sort of there as kind of a guiding force, going like, okay, but they wouldn't do this, or I can see the world going in this direction. Odin's would have this kind of personality. This and this character would be sort of like that based on what I made. Um, but then, moving from there, we would have more structured talks about what should and should not happen. And like, you and the rest of the team would add elements of yourself into that and things that we felt were appropriate for the time and what we were doing.
Yes, because all of the you had pre-created a lot of the the world, the symbols like the loop and stuff. You had thought about where did the owls come from, and all of the overarching bits. But dialogue and stuff we kind of wrote as we worked on the game. We knew a couple of things, and that was, the gunners were gonna have a big impact on the story, and we kind of just worked from there. In the end, we worked on the story a bit, like even just 1 week before we managed to complete the game, there was still story bits that we were like, how are we gonna so it was kind of strange, but especially with Otis's and Getty's relationship, they in the original, I guess when I started working on it, they didn't even know each other.
Yeah, Getty was just kind of a random character.
Yes.
But the way that I look at it, in terms of like, sort of a guiding light of where the story went, you have kind of a luxury when it comes to video game development as opposed to movies and books, is that in both those mediums, you have to be kind of structured. Especially in movies, you have to have a extremely clear goal of where everything needs to be. Everything needs to be scheduled. You have to have people that can do this and that. If you don't have the entire script written out by hand, at the start of production, that would be insanity. But when it comes to video games, at least to me, the way that I feel it works best is that you start with some kind of gameplay and a guiding principle or feeling that you want to encapsulate. So I knew what Owlboy was going to look like. We spent a lot of time developing what the gameplay was going to be, which, of course, shapes where the story will go. Part of the reason why we picked a story that had to do with, either weakness or feeling like you couldn't quite live up to your potential is because that was a central component to how you play the game. It sort of naturally progresses from there. And then as we developed that concept, we introduced more elements that were more fitting to that. For example, the entire thing about gunners. The fact that you added more of them. Okay, what's the story implication here? Well, it's because now you have friends that help you reach your goals. How can you write something that adds to that gameplay? And then once you have all those pieces in place and you start to sort of get the general idea of, okay, this is where the story is going, this is what we want to accomplish, then you start really threading the needle on where you want that story to go. Now, an important aspect of this is you want to know where it ends. It has to end with something satisfying. I already knew what the ending of Owlboy was going to be immediately when I wrote it, but getting that ending to be satisfying has to have a lot of build-up. It has to justify why you're watching this story, why you're playing this story, and why you're following this journey. And if we had made Owlboy with just the story bits that I came up with, it would have been really unsatisfying. It would sort of have stopped right before the really climactic bits in the ending of Owlboy came to fruition. But because we knew all of the parts that preceded that, all of the character moments and the character growths, the difficulties that they had moving forward, we knew that, okay, this is what we need at the end for this to feel fulfilling and for you to feel like this is what the conclusion should be. So it's a lot of exploration on that. And the fact that we actually had all of this time during development to sit there and think, this is what we need in order for this to feel justified, I feel is what gave that story all that impact. Because I feel like a lot of developers, when they make a game, especially when you're doing like AAA stuff, you kind of go, okay, we have to make a game and it has to fit this deadline. And if it's not done by then okay, well, that's just how it's going to be. So there's less time to go back and go like, okay, but now how about we just add like a year or two to make this ending feel really good? There's usually not that amount of time.
No. And it can drive developers insane as well. But in the end, we spent that time and we're super happy with how it turned out.
All right.
Huh.
Thank you for your question.
Yeah.
Next.
Let's see here. Yeah. From Victor Strong. I remember long ago that you said there's still one secret in Owlboy that no one has discovered. It was discovered? ? What was it? ?
I believe the community caught that one pretty fast once I gave some hints.
Yeah.
But I think the one that I was talking about then was the secret tune.
Yeah.
I have composed 3 melodies for Owlboy. Composed is very generous. I created Otis's theme, which is the theme that plays at Otis's house. I also wrote the theme for the Bogwins, which is played both for when you meet them and when you're in Buccaneer's shop. Of course, all this beautifully rendered by Jonathan Gear and his band. However, there was one more, and it was during an experimental phase because we had how do I put this into words? Dungeon 1, as we call it, is not actually Dungeon 1. We call the Owl Temple Dungeon 1 because that was the first dungeon that we made. And then as we were getting more close to the finishing of the game, it turns out that's not sufficient to teach you how to play. So we added the quote-unquote Valley Dungeon. And in that area, we didn't have a music track from Jonathan at the very start. And so while we waited for him to compose that, I made a temporary theme. And it was really just honking pan flutes and some drop synths and that kind of thing. But while I was doing that, I made a secret theme. And I put it behind a very particular wall. I think I asked you to do it, that if you went into this one area and just stood there for like 2 minutes or something, then it plays very quietly. And it wasn't like all that important, but it was one of those few moments where I got to like just add something completely pointless that was kind of fun.
We were talking about the origin of the song. Is there a creature in there playing that tune, or should he reveal himself at some point? But the tune is still there.
In fact, the more we talked about it, we had some really weird ideas. There was at one point we experimented with Getty having a shrink ray.
Yeah.
That was a very real thing we thought about for a while. It actually worked pretty well. And then we had this idea that, well, if you could use a shrink ray and you go into the room with a secret tune, can you go into a door and find like a a tiny blacksmith
Yeah.
that can like upgrade your weapon. And I think that was like the furthest extent that we were discussing that whole thing. But then we were just like, this is insane. Like we'll have to recalibrate the entire game to add the shrink ray. What would the blacksmith even give you if you were in there? Like, are we gonna add weapon upgrades?
Yeah.
Like, isn't it just fine that it's a little tune that you find and you're not quite sure what it is?
Yes, it's definitely a little bit more mysterious.
Yeah. So there is a. I'm pretty sure there's some other things.
There are, I mean, things that haven't been discovered. I can't think of any right now, but I'm pretty sure there are some like backstory bits, right?
Yeah. There's some hints that we've given to some lore stuff that's pretty out in the open.
Yeah.
And I've seen some people have guesses about it that I gotten pretty close, but
Yeah.
never this one thing. And even I've hinted at this in a bunch of different places that are like you can literally see it straight up from the get-go. And it's not incredibly important, but I feel like it's one of those like why is no one catching this?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a sufficient answer. Let's just leave it at
I
that.
think so. From Kai Kai. What was the biggest upset in development the team had to face?
That was a lot of different things.
Oh, yeah.
Over the span of 9 years, a lot of things happen.
Yes. I mean, the constant having to delay the game.
Mhm.
We announced that the game was going to come out in 2011. The game didn't come out till like 5 years later. There was a bunch of things that we both had planned that never went through. Like you were supposed to move together with Julie, who was your girlfriend at the time.
Yeah, I had always said that I would marry my girlfriend after Owlboy was finished, because I wanted to make sure that we had income
Yes.
during that time. And of course, it just kept piling up on years. I think I married her 1 or 2 years before we finished the game.
Yes. I mean, there's a couple of interviews with us where we talk at length about all the problems that we had during that time. And the one thing that kept coming back was, of course, the fact we have no idea how to finish this game. We have no idea how long it's actually going to take.
I am off tomorrow, so we should be able to spend some time together.
Awesome. All right, I'll get back to making lava.
Alright, I love you.
Love your face.
At one point, I guess we got so desperate that we just decided, let's try and cut down on all of the things that we've been working on. And that's how we started cutting content. And at the end, we had like half of the game cut, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think that was an important lesson, figuring out what we should and should not add into something.
Yeah.
But that's the insane part to me, is just how much we have. There's practically an entire game's worth of stuff in there
Yeah.
that never got used, but it's also, it would be weird if we did
Yeah.
for a lot of it. I think the one that we mention all the time is Advent. You were supposed to explore that. There was a city that you could walk around. There was a theater where we were going to put on an entire play. The entire school would have like a lexicon of monsters that you would meet. There was a shoe salesman that would sell you shoes that would jingle. There was a segment where you could explore the area around it, where you could rebuild Advent with bricks. It was sort of like crafting and all that.
Yeah.
But if we had added that, like, what would that add?
Yeah. Not too much, I think. And during all of this, there was the severe lack of money as well on our side, but it was never really that huge of an issue. We had great support both from my parents. We lived in their house in like a an apartment next to their house, free of charge. So money was never really all that much of a problem.
No, I think the psychological damage was the hardest hit about it.
Yes.
Just the fact that, you know, not to sound too negative, but it's like you feel like your life is being wasted.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, but what am I even doing this for? And then you finally get to finish it, and you're like, oh, this was what it was about.
Yeah. Like the day that we started, getting fan art and stuff when we released the game, that was like when, oh shit, people are actually playing our game and liking it, and enough to, get invested to the point where they want to draw Otis and friends in their own styles. And that was kind of when I realized that, oh man, oh my, it's been worth it.
Yeah, it was bizarre when people started making like their own owl sonas, and I saw some people were making like their own like fictional campaigns
Yeah.
and stuff. It was really interesting. We also had we have a pretty active speedrunning group.
Oh yeah.
It's all so foreign because we've just been sitting there for 9 years working on this. We couldn't show it to anyone.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're
It's
real
alive.
developers, and these things that happen to like officials in the industry is now happening to us. How
Yeah.
weird is that?
Yeah. So as for like instances that were kind of like, oh my god, this is a huge challenge, I can't really think of any one instance where we had a hard time.
Yeah,
It was just years of challenge.
yeah, it was pretty much just all of it.
Yeah. So I guess that's it.
Next question.
Ha! Okay, from Gabe Draws Stuff. Are there any Easter eggs in Owlboy that people have yet to find?
This depends on how you define Easter eggs.
Yes, so we've already talked a little bit about it. There's a NES a Nintendo machine in the professor's lab.
Actually, that is very good that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Like that was one of the things that we talked about really early. Even during the early parts of Owlboy's development, we were talking about should you be able to play Owlboy inside Owlboy
Oh yeah.
on an NES.
Yeah.
And that's actually an idea that we've talked about further.
Yeah.
That I won't talk too much about. So that Easter egg might actually become a lot more relevant moving forward.
Definitely. There's other things in Owlboy. We talked about the trash compactor part of Dungeon 3. You had a ton of hidden stuff down there, but we never got to show it. You had like a trash pile with the Game Boy Advance in it and stuff.
In fact, like most of you know that we have been planning Vikings very early. But there was one part that we never got to add.
Right.
Yeah, the acid is still in the game, I'm pretty sure. But when you go through the lava dungeon and there's like parallax pieces of lava that's going out in front.
Yeah.
One of them has a burnt Vikings plushie just lying on top of it, just like half fried.
Yes, but the thing is that it doesn't look like a plushie. It just looks like a person. So we kind of had to cut it out
Yeah, we
as to not freak out people.
it was really like we were right on the edge on that.
Yeah.
There was quite a few moments where we were like, is this too real?
Yes, this too. Wow. So yeah, there are some Easter eggs still. What more is there? There's, I think it was last year that I asked you about Mandolin's house, where there's a whole backstory that I had no idea existed about Mandolin's brother.
Yes, the brother that
And
was a cook.
cheese.
Cheese?
Yeah, people asked why there's a picture of cheese in Mandalin's house.
Oh, right. Yeah, because he's a
And
chef.
yes, and so and I guess there's a lot more stuff like that. It's just that there's so many details in Owlboy that I haven't really been able to stop and just look at them. So yeah, I guess we have to like make a compiled list at some point of Easter eggs.
Let's see. What else have we got?
Let's see here. Okay, question from Lori. If you had a chance to visit one area from the game, which would it be?
You mean in real life?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, that's a good question. Because it's a, I mean, Advent would probably have the most luxuries, but at the same time, you know what happened to that. So
Yeah.
maybe not.
Buccaneer's shop is definitely a place I would go to visit if it was like anywhere.
Yeah, though I feel like the vibes would be kind of intense.
Yeah, I would probably need to wear some kind of protective gear.
Threaten you with a bazooka.
Yeah. Valley is always a really nice place to just hang around. In fact, we posted some videos of it, like how we animated that part. We're going to post more videos of that later on. We got kind of busy preparing for this anniversary stream. But yeah, Mesos, it's too damn cold, but it's also
Yeah.
very like Christmassy, so
I feel like, okay, Valley is the obvious answer because you have amenities, you have food available and all that, and you have people that, seem like nice people. That would be a nice place to visit.
the thing is, if you think about it, you can't really go anywhere. If you're not an owl, you're stuck.
Yeah, like I keep thinking of areas that I want to visit. Like, okay, would I want to go to Tropos
Yeah.
because it's in the troposphere, so it's warmer than the other areas. But everything would want to kill you in there,
Yeah.
so that's probably a bad idea. Would I want to go to the tower? No, because I mean you would struggle to breathe, and there's nothing to live
Yeah.
there.
So I guess you're right. Advent would be the place because you can basically live there and not really care if you can't fly.
Yeah, Advent is sort of like the only beacon of civilization where it feels like here you could live comfortably.
Although it got destroyed, so maybe not the best place to, have a house.
No, that's why I'm saying like Valley, because it's the only safe refuge.
Yes. So yeah, it's a hostile world. Okay. Question from Abstruse Aglet. What are some of the best glitches while developing Owlboy?
I think it's the one where Dirk is standing there and going like blah 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 blah, and then he just kind of sinks into lava for no
Yeah.
reason.
He goes like through the floor.
I think there's another one where okay, so I don't know if it's even a spoiler, but you have this giant frog toad boss. And there was something wrong with the animation system. So they're all standing there about to react to it waking up, but it doesn't. It just starts sliding past, and it's like a freight train coming by, just whoop.
Yeah. We have to go through all the footage, but yes, there's one part where I tried to animate clouds, and they would look kind of wonky. They would look like they're dancing instead of what I actually wanted them to do. They were supposed to be like wobbly, but they ended up doing a waltz. I
Yeah,
always
they did kind of like that thing.
Yeah, I always imagined when I saw it, I instantly heard like Waltz to the Moon from the Final Fantasy game.
right. The whole
Yeah. So yeah, I removed it immediately and tried to make better looking clouds, but that was one of my favorite glitches. There's also glitches that are actually being actively used in the game by speedrunners. You can go through walls if you pick up stuff, and then I don't even know myself how they.
It's a reposition glitch. So the way that it works is that you pressure yourself to be up against the floor and the ceiling and pick something up. And because you shift the character a couple of pixels up, you'll go past the collision barrier. Now, of course, this is not something that we recommend because the game was not built to do that. But we purposely left some of those in because speedrunners would have to basically remap their entire routes.
Yeah, we would have ruined their records if we fixed those. So,
but there's still like we still debate it to this day whether or not we should just get rid of those.
There are some patches that fixes it. So, but you can opt out of them. I think.
Okay, next question.
Yes. Next question is. Okay, a few questions from Warpwoods. What's Otis's favorite instrument?
Favorite instrument?
Yeah.
That's a very interesting question because there's two aspects about Otis that we didn't explore all that much, but I'm not sure it involves an instrument. The first is that he loves to dance. So he's actually a surprisingly good dancer, and I think it's mainly because he doesn't speak, so he expresses himself in some other way.
He was supposed to be able to do interpretive dance.
Yeah, the idea was that some characters would say something, and then Otis would dance to it, and he could use that in a number of different ways to either solve puzzles or solve travel around town, that kind of thing. But the other thing is that Otis makes like little hoots. It's the only way he can communicate because that's the only sound that he's able to make. And I feel like that's as far as his musical talent goes. Because it's like, I mean, of course he can breathe, so he can probably use an instrument, and some of them you don't need to blow into. You can, violin or something like that. But I never imagined him being musically inclined.
No, I mean, you can see it kind of in this picture as well. Like Madeline is playing her mandolin, I suppose.
Yeah.
Otis doesn't give a hoot.
Next question.
Okay. Do you have remnants of the old chiptune soundtrack you spoke of, when one of the hyper secret flutes was located? He is curious as a chiptune writer himself. So,
oh, if we have some of the, okay. So I just want to clarify one thing because I find that interesting. So whenever the soundtrack is listed, everyone mentions that it's chiptune.
yeah,
And the reason why they do that is because Jonathan, for the Valley theme, experimented with a few things. We gave him some pointers for where the soundtrack could go, and then he just nailed it pretty much immediately. But the very first track that he made was the Valley theme, and it's the only one that has a synth. The rest of it is performed by an orchestra. So because the one theme that's there when you start the game has a synth in it, people call it a chiptune track.
yeah.
Like the rest of it literally is performed by a live orchestra. Like there's nothing about the soundtrack that has any synth in it.
No, it's weird because I think of the soundtrack as a chiptune soundtrack, but it's only because of that one song.
Yeah. It's because it just has to.
Yeah.
That part that uses a very simple synth.
But that part also goes, we use it in a lot of different settings and a lot of different tracks in the game. So it kind of stays with you.
Yeah, it's a line motif of it that it shows up again. So you keep attributing to it, but every time it's played by a real instrument.
Yeah.
So it's really weird in that sense. However, when we're talking about chiptune soundtracks, I did recreate a lot of the soundtrack using NES trackers,
Yeah.
and that does exist in my personal files, and we were considering using that for some of those Owlboy projects that we talked about earlier. But I've never made those public,
No.
and I don't think we ever used those in the game itself.
No.
I think I kept those to myself. Even the secret tune, that's a form of Windows MIDI that I used.
Yeah.
That was before I had more advanced synths available. In fact, I still use that Windows synth for a lot of our projects. I've mentioned it before, but Savant Descent, there were elements in there where I used Windows synth to make sound effects.
Yeah.
But there is a bit of trivia that I've probably mentioned 100 times before, but I love the little soundbite of it. Every time every time an enemy dies in Owlboy, cow moos,
Yeah.
because you'll get that little sound. That's that same synth, but underneath it, when that little skull cloud flies away, it'll go like.
Yeah.
And that's a slowed down cow that I just put on top of it.
Huh.
So every time an enemy dies, a cow moos.
That's good. I need to put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Every time someone dies, a cow moos. Next question.
Here's a question from Liquid Silla. If you could hang out with two characters from Owlboy for the day, who would you choose and why?
The obvious answer, of course, is Otis and Getty.
Yeah.
And in fact, we've talked about that a lot lately.
Yeah.
Hanging out with Otis and Getty. Just because their dynamic is really good, and I think it would be a good time.
Yeah.
Also, I think just in that regard, it would be interesting just like from a personal perspective, how weird it would be to hang out with like a character that you have made yourself.
Yeah.
Because it would be like, hi, I made you. And yeah, I'm sorry for what I put you through.
Yeah. Oh my god, there would be so much like regret.
Yeah, that'd be strange.
Yeah. I've played a game called Toonstruck, which is literally the guy who created the world that he gets like sapped into. That's the game.
Right.
And it's interesting, but with Owlboy specifically, I would not be stuck there.
There's a lot of things that happen in Owlboy that's very tragic.
Yeah.
But I guess if we could like put aside the potential trauma and like just take it out of that context.
Yes. So I would hang out with Toby in his sauna together with Aisho, I guess. I've mentioned before that Aisho is kind of my favorite character in that he's a very angry guy. And seeing him relax in the sauna, that would probably ease him up a bit.
I think honestly there's so many characters that I think would be fun to hang out with. I think Twig would get on my nerves a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he would just be so hyper, but I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
Alphonse I think would be great just because I feel like he would make a really good meal.
Oh yeah.
And I think Mandolin would just be pleasant to hang around.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's so many characters that I think would be likable.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, honestly, like I'm shocked at how many characters in Owlboy ended up being so likable.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing when you write characters, is that you try to give them flaws and uh, problems and personality issues that might not mesh with things or be opposite of what you would like.
Yeah.
But we actually ended up with a lot of characters that were just kind of like, yeah, I kind of like you. You're not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, even Fib and Bonacci, even though they're bullies, they're kind of like um, hyper as well.
Yeah.
I suppose I would give them a good lesson in chilling out if I would hang out with them.
I think, but standard answer, Otis and Getty.
Yeah,
I definitely think so.
yeah.
Hang on to that for later.
Hang on.
Mhm.
From Oscar Lundin, could I please have the blue and yellow super cute thing? And I guess he's talking about this little guy here. The Bogwin. And yes, you asked the question, so you are in the competition.
In fact, this is a good opportunity to tell you that we've actually decided to make these available again. We are going to be opening up pre-orders for you to order your very own Bogwin, and we will be shipping those out before Christmas.
Yes.
So if you're interested, we will get you the information in a second.
Yes. Check out the link. It's here. Wow. Okay, this is interesting. From Tesat. Are Bogwins inspired by Prinnies from Disgaea?
Oh boy, that one.
I mean, no.
No.
Design-wise, no. Dialogue-wise, yes.
So here's the thing. Joe loves Prinnies. You can see it's the only tattoo he has. But you've been playing Disgaea for quite some time.
Yes. A little bit of backstory on my relationship with the Prinnies and Disgaea. I played that game too much. It's the only game that I've ever been like truly addicted to. I played for 1,000 hours at least. And I decided, okay, enough is enough. I need to start working on games. I need to start developing games and not playing them. And I decided, in order to remind me of this every day, take a tattoo. And that way, every time I brush my teeth, when I wake up, I'm reminded that I shouldn't be addicted to games anymore.
Right.
That's how I got that tattoo. And to this day, I haven't gotten addicted to anything remotely as much as I was Disgaea. And I really loved the Prinnies, the way that they talked. So when Simon showed me the Bogwins, the first thing on my mind was, hell yeah! I can make these guys look and sound absolutely ridiculous, just like the Prinnies. And a lot of the dialogue with them is like nonsensical stuff. Especially when they talk to Otis, or when they give Otis an item in the Buccaneer shop. We decided that they're kind of funny talking, so we want more dialogue with the Prinnies. Let's put them in Buccaneer shop.
Right. You said Prinnies instead of
Prinnies.
Bogwins.
Bogwins.
Oh shit. I come at from a very different perspective. So the Bogwins to me, because I didn't even know what Disgaea was when I designed them. In fact, back when I designed them, I made them for Advent, and the idea was that the entire town was supposed to be filled with sentient dinosaurs. So I had like a T-Rex in a top hat, and I had a Stegosaurus that walked around with a cane, and one of them was a tiny velociraptor thing that was kind of like just a little dim-witted. So that's what it started out with. In fact, that's part of the reason why they have those stump legs, is because it's like the dinosaur legs like bending back, sort of like a dog's legs. And then I kind of forgot about the Prinnies. Not the Prinnies. Now you've made me do it. And then I sort of completely forgot about the Bogwins for a bit. Then we made Buccaneery. We needed to have sort of a place where you could buy items and upgrade your stuff. And it occurred to me that, you know what, it would be nice to sort of have something that built into that. And then I thought of, okay, but we have these little velociraptor guys because we're not going to be using dinosaurs in the big town anymore. Can I use them for something? And I looked at them, and their jowls sort of were like, it's kind of cow-like, but at the same time, they kind of looked like a penguin. So I was like, okay, penguin, something, bovine penguin, bogwin. So I ended up with the Bogwins. And despite all that, then I sent it to Joe, and you had played Disgaea, so you saw Prinny, and you were just like, okay, we're going to write them like that. And then eventually you went, okay, so how do they talk? Because you had sort of the idea of the Prinnies in your head. I was like, well, they have this floppy jowl thing, so they'll probably talk like this. And then I ended up with them just going, bah, all over the place. And now, whenever we have the Bogwins anywhere, they just go, bah, everywhere.
In fact, you've made a song where you've put the ba in.
Yeah, yes, I did.
So, yeah, that's, working with the Bogwins was the one thing that I guess we wrote pretty much. We knew exactly what we were going to write, I guess. Because it didn't have to do anything with the story, so it was just write stupid stuff.
And that's the interesting thing, because whenever someone asks me, like, were they inspired by Prentice, the answer is unanimously no.
Yeah.
Like, not in any capacity. But then you ask Joe, and he will say unanimously yes. So it's sort of like, it's a weird amalgamation of both.
Yeah, but they're kind of my favorite in Owlboy too. I'm so happy we got to make like these plushies as well. I finally got some. So, yeah.
So that concludes all of your questions.
Yes.
Thank you so much for submitting those. Moving on from here, so we're going to do a little bit of a live play of Vikings. It'll be me versus Joe, and it'll be about as competitive as you think it will be. We've been duking it out now for, it would be 11 years.
Yes.
We've been just doing regular tournaments at the office. I think it only makes sense for me and Joe to go head to head and do a little bit of a duel. Hello, are we live?
I hope so.
I think we might be live.
Are we super live for real?
So yeah, this is us for real now. You've been watching the fake ones. How could you?
Yes.
So
we did a little bit of pre-recording this year because we had to. I think
work.
They can't hear us.
They can't hear us?
Oh. Hello. Can you hear us?
Everyone can hear us, right? It's fine. Well, you did say we were fake in the chat there, which means that they can hear that.
Great.
Okay, so we're good. Everything's good? We're good. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to be dueling between me and Joe. So we've been dueling now for a very long time.
Yes.
So right now we're going to be facing off in the beta version of Vikings.
Yes.
And this is a development build, so there's a lot of things in here that is not going to be in the final game. There's unfinished assets and all that, but we did actually want to show you the game tonight.
Yes. So we have put a poll up on our Twitter. Vote for who you think is gonna win. So vote for me, and then at the end of it, we're gonna see who's actually best.
Okay. So is everybody ready? This is a beta version of Vikings. Let's start off.
Oh my god. Palms are sweaty.
Hold on. I have to adjust the sound a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. Is that a comfortable volume for everyone? Just need to make sure that everything sounds good here. Okay, everything sounds good. Okay, we're ready. Hold on. Am I clear 2 now?
Yes.
How dare you? Okay, so before we start, we can demonstrate something real quick. The entire game is controlled only by the one stick, so you can literally like have a drink or, you know, do whatever else with your other hand. So the entire game will be controlled by that. Joe will be player 1, which will be
Mr. Red.
and I will be yellow. So you can add bots to the gameplay, and we might add that a little later, but for now, let's jump over to the level screen.
Yeah. Boom. Okay, we're going to start at the very first level. And let's teach everyone the basics. So there's a couple of things you can do in this game. You can press up to do a little flurry jump thingy.
You can do that to kind of catch yourself if you're about to fall off your trampoline.
Yes, you can also hold up, and that makes you fall slower. And if you hold down, you go down fast, which gives you a little bit more knocking power and, you know, makes you maybe dodge stuff that comes.
And of course you have items, which I'm going to grab right now. I missed!
Oh, okay, so we're starting.
Yeah, we're starting.
Okay.
Bye! shit.
Okay, here comes the hammer revenge.
Nope.
Yes.
Nope!
Oh,
Get off it.
no. Okay.
Get off of the platform.
In that case.
Out.
Ow!
Oh yeah, and I can spawn kill it.
Hammer is the worst. Oh my god. Shit. Okay, so I'm going to try and throw an axe at you now.
Oh, he's got balloon mode. It means he's big, and if I touch him, then I die. Oh no!
And you will.
Nope. I refuse. Get out of here. My turn.
Okay, so I hope
1-0.
everyone voted for me. So we're gonna turn down the volume a little bit in the game.
Hold on, I got it. It's right here.
Oh,
There. Okay, so we can jump back. I'm gonna turn down a little bit more.
yes.
Okay, how's that?
Is that okay? Let's do another round, but this time, let's do the boat.
Ooh.
Boating.
So this is the boat. This is one of the later levels that we added, and this is also where Toot the Whale lives. And he'll make his appearance.
Oh yeah.
And of course we got Accordion Man. He's my favorite thing in the whole game. Get over here.
Water is not my favorite thing in the game.
Nope. Get out of here.
Okay, okay, okay.
No, 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 no. Yeah.
Yes.
No.
No.
Okay, so you can hit the balloon mode person with an axe, and they'll pop like a balloon. Balloons are a big theme in this game.
Yes. Blues are the best.
You can't reach me up here.
Oh no.
Oh, there's two. Get out of here.
Ha. No, 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 no. Toot, help me. Damn. What is going on?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the thing we haven't talked about. Holy shit. If you jump on someone 3 times, you enter spin mode, which will then do more damage.
Yes.
So in other words, if you're just good at the game, then you do more damage that way.
And I'm not good at the game, so apparently, even though I designed this crap,
Don't call the game crap in front of the audience.
it's, you know, my design. It's my child.
Hey!
Crud. We should do a level where I'm good. Which one is that?
That doesn't exist. Let's do the tower.
Let's do the tower, yes.
So this one is inspired by some old games, both on the ZX Spectrum, on the Commodore, on the Super Nintendo. It's an old-timey tradition to do a full tower in 2D where everything looks like it's 3D, but it's hand-drawn. And I wanted to do that as sort of the next step in that.
Yes.
So here we have the tower level.
Okay, so let's make this one interesting. Whoever wins gets to eat cake.
That's the criteria. Okay,
Yes.
here we go.
3, 2, 1. This time.
Oh no, you got cake on your fingers.
Oh no, I cheated.
But you only need one hand, so it's fine.
Oh yeah, that's true. Ooh.
We're so smart with our design.
Actually, I'm gonna play my A game right now. It's about cake.
Oh shit.
Didn't even touch me then.
B game. Bame.
Okay, here comes my A game again. Again, though. Okay,
Get out of here.
you're being awfully aggressive.
That's the point.
And now you die. Oh, hammer time. Hammer time is clamor time. And an axe in the face for good measure.
Oh my god.
Here comes another hammer. No! Why is that happening?
No, I don't know. Yeah, it's a mystery. It's a complete mystery.
Okay, well, let's unravel this mystery here and... Woohoo! You are a slippery one.
Oh,
I couldn't think of the English
Slippery?
language. Yeah, a slippery one, that's true.
it's almost the same word.
Yeah, almost.
Get out of here. I can taste the cake already.
The cake is so far from my grasp. No, that's not happening. And you know it's not happening because...
You missed. That's why. Get over here.
Okay.
Oh no.
And it's happening. The tower is rotating pretty fast now. Oh no, you...
Oh wait, what?
Haha!
Whoa!
You didn't pay attention and now you're paying the iron price.
Yeah.
Is it the hammer or the wing helmet who's going to be victorious in this situation here? Yep, it's the hammer and it's all mine and you're all dead. Yeah.
Sorry, this is more funny to me than I expected.
Let's see, no, yes!
Oh
Yes,
shit.
Warped Wood is correct. I'm making a mega comeback for
Well-
this cake. And now I'm gonna eat it too. Let's see.
You just grab a slice and shove it in
Just a
your
little
gullet,
bit
I
of
guess.
slice. Just a little bit. Okay, and you're gonna watch me eat it. That's a good cake. Okay.
Next.
Next. Okay, which one do you want to show next?
Let's do the windmill. We haven't
Sure.
shown that yet.
This is the second stage we designed. I guess this is when we decided that okay, let's make this game into a big one. We only had this first level, the one that we played first. We had that level for like 3 or 4 years until we started adding new levels.
And the thing about it is that we had to... You think that this is a really simple concept. We just have trampolines on the windmill blades. Turns out you get pushed into the ceiling a lot and you can't be where you want to be. So we had to come up with some pretty creative solutions for this one.
Yes, it didn't work. The first few iterations didn't work at all, but in the end, it's pretty crazy. We should show off some 4-player action at some point.
Oh, we can just activate some bots.
Sure. You know what? Let's do that right now.
But maybe not on that level.
Okay.
Because reasons.
Reasons.
Yes.
Okay. Here we go again.
There we are.
Okay. Okay. What do I do here?
Fall off,
okay.
generally.
Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna.
Oh, that was close.
Oh, okay. So yeah, those flaps come in real handy. They can only be used once each time you bounce on the trampoline.
Yeah, the flutter jumps.
Yes, and then you have to bounce on the trampoline again, and then you can. If you get the wing helmet, you can use that as much as you want, but it only lasts for 5 seconds.
So all the items, you don't have to do anything. You pick up automatically, and the ones that last for a while will just disappear after 5 seconds.
Yes, that's so it's it's gonna be easy for everyone to pick up.
Just to demonstrate, so I'll have my hand out while I play.
Is this now that I beat your ass? Yes, it is. Okay, let me play one-handed. Okay, here we
I mean,
go.
you already are. It's just that you're not gripping the
Oh,
controller.
that's true. Oh shit, I'm better at one-handed gameplay.
I don't know what that means.
No. And that's how you fail at life.
Oh,
Okay, it's mine. I know what you're thinking, but it's mine.
what is yours?
No, it's gone.
Just like your victory.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yeah!
Gosh darn it. Gosh darn it.
All right. Want to try the roller coaster first, and then we try several with people?
Sure.
So this one is probably my favorite. This was actually teased, I think it was either it was several years ago.
Yeah.
Where I put this, the tease for this background up on my Twitter.
Yes.
And a bunch of people were saying like, is it going to be Owlboy but with a cowboy theme?
Yeah.
Like, no, this is a theme that was inspired by our road trips during when we were doing our final promotion tour for Owlboy.
Exactly. Let's show it. We also have a question. If they go to the far sides of the camera, who follow the camera follows who? The camera follows whoever is the farthest away, but it will find a center of the Vikings and try to follow that center point. So no characters is ever outside of the camera unless they're in like real danger.
Yeah, so we're trying to keep everything on one side, on one screen, so we don't move around too much. And part of the reason for that is we tested with some motion early on. Turns out people get really seasick.
Oh yeah.
So we decided not to do that.
Yes. The stage where the camera moves the most, I guess, is this stage right here. The camera moves with the roller coaster, I guess we call it.
Oh, fudge.
Hot fudge.
Warm fudge.
Let's see. Yes.
And that transition was also really fun to work
Oh
on.
yeah.
But to get everything readable in this game has been a real challenge, just because everything is moving like 300 miles per hour.
Yes, it's definitely a faster game than Owlboy.
It's one of those. I have to specifically design the sprites to look good in action as opposed to still images, because if everything is just still images, they look kind of strange. But they have to look this way in order for you to be able to make out all their expressions.
Yes. No.
Nope.
Ah.
Hey Joe, what's up, Joe?
Hi.
Where you going?
I can fly.
Oh fuck!
Goodbye. Okay, so there's that hammer again, and let's see who wins the hammer duel, eh? Ha! Okay, somebody's keeping score.
Yeah, it's 3-2, I believe.
Yes. What's the resolution of the game? It's 960 times 540. So it's about 50% bigger than Owlboy's canvas.
Yeah, and this is probably the most insane part about this, because what I've said for years is that the hardest thing you can do is giant pixelated backgrounds. And for some reason, I just decided, hey, how about we make a game where it's almost impossible to see the moving sprites and you have to have enormous detailed backgrounds.
Yeah.
Should we add some bots?
Let's add some bots. Let's see. Let's do the first stage again. And then let's see who's the best with bots.
So the bots, we basically coded Terminators. These guys are insanely good and can barely be hit by anything. In fact, we had to make them dumber because they were too good. So we, like maybe 1 in 8 times we will win against the bots.
Oh, you put them to level 5.
Yes, actually you did, but I will not take responsibility for what you are about to put us through.
Okay, well...
Come here, Blue. Come here, Blue. Blue! Gotcha.
Green. Yes! We are working together, which isn't the point of this competition here.
No!
But let's get rid of these bots. I'm dead, almost.
I got him, I got Blue.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna...
I got you. Oh no! No, Blue. Let's talk about this!
He's untalkable.
Oh.
Are you even gonna be able to do it?
I'm not sure this is gonna... Oh! Just...
Woohoo!
Because he knows how to get a perfect spin at every jump, so it's almost impossible. No! No! Blue? Blue, stop it. Stop it. Come here.
He doesn't
Come here.
want to stop it. He's one blue bot.
I don't know how... Come on, come on.
Are you? Yes.
No, come on! He's got 1 life. I got 3.
Yes,
this
you got
should
him.
be possible.
No.
Yes!
Ha!
Yes!
You beat the bots.
Live. I beat the bots live. There's proof. There's proof that I could do it.
Too bad if we delete the video.
Oh no.
Too bad.
Should we try a boss fight?
Yes, we totally should. So let's not spoil too much. Let's show the very first boss of the game.
So we should explain this.
Yes.
In the adventure mode, which this is not, this is the versus mode. In the adventure mode, you will have access to the entire world map. It'll work sort of like, imagine a mix between Mario Party and Cuphead, where you have every stage be sort of a minigame, and then at the end of every session, you get to a boss fight. And every boss fight is taken over by this balloon henchman that rides it around. So we're going to be trying the very first one. This should be the totem.
Yeah.
And this is a cooperative mode. You can play it single or up to 4 players.
Yes. Blue. Oh, and the bosses are...
Time to music. Oh no!
Boom! You should have seen it coming. Yes, Alex is back home working on some very cool stuff. He's making a sequel to the Alchemist album. And, you know, in celebrating his 10-year anniversary. But he did the music and sound effects for the entire game.
Yeah, so we made it so that the entire boss fight is timed up to the music.
Yes.
So he'll gonna do a little jig here.
Jig. Jig. Okay. Boom.
You got it?
Yes.
So when you play cooperatively, you can use each other as trampolines.
Yes.
So I'm gonna jump on top of Joe and use him to take this thing out. You got him, Joe?
Ooh. Boom. Yes. Come.
Last round.
Okay. Here it comes for final.
No! Ah!
Yes, you're gone. Why is this happening?
I got him.
Yes, and I got him too.
2, 3. There we go.
Ah.
All right.
Haha.
So I think that's as much as we're going to show just from the adventure mode itself,
Sure.
unless we want to give one extra bonus.
So we kind of have to show this one.
We have to.
We will be having some Viking sports in the game as well. This is the football mode, and I guess this is the finale, and we're gonna show who's actually best at the game here.
Is that how it
Yeah, I
works?
was just playing
see.
before. Here we go. Football with the face,
So you have to knock the ball into the other person's goal.
which I'm doing right now, as I will show you promptly.
And you died.
In this
And
mode.
you died. Promptly deceased. Immediately.
Oh, So in this mode, you have infinite lives. You bounce off the ball, and if you jump and spin and then bounce on the ball, you kick it really hard. Like this. And that's how you score. What?
Except when it's you, in which case you miss.
Why do I suck at my own games? Here we go.
Oh shit!
That's a 1.
That's a 1! Woo-hoo.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Uh,
Oh! Handed it to me!
shite.
Just the build-up of that. Just really had to rev up that. No!
Yes!
My own goal.
I am the best.
I think that's your secret tactic. You just say something so weird that I can't concentrate.
Let's see. Here we go. Oh, the game is. No. And you're out.
This isn't the second Aliens movie.
Don't.
Eh?
Okay. Oh, 9.
Nope!
It's not happening. You know it's not
It's
happening.
happening! Yes! 4 seconds to go.
3, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah!
Live stream is over. See you next year.
That was Vikings on trampolines.
So yes, we're going to show more from the game next year. We are working on finishing the game, of course, and we're working on some other projects as well. Can't tell you anything.
Can't tell you yet. Though, we can say that it is the 10-year anniversary of Savant Descent
It is.
next year. So that's an interesting thing to mention out of nowhere.
So yeah, keep your eyes peeled. We're going to, keep working, and we also would just like to say we got so many questions. I think we got like 100 questions for this stream. So we're most likely going to try and answer some in the time to come. There were so many great questions as well. And you guys noticed that we did some pre-recording today. That's because I have kids now, and I never know when I have to pick up my stuff and leave. But we're going to try and post some of those additional questions in the following months. We also have some winners that we would like to announce for the questions that we have been answering.
So for those that have stuck around towards the very end, we did have a giveaway pretty much every year, and this year is no different. So the people that sent in questions, we've pulled winners for every single one of you. So I'm going to be reading up the winners for the 3 prizes. So let's do that right now. Okay, so for the Otis plush, the winner for that is Astral Slash.
Yes.
So you'll be getting one of these in the mail. Congratulations.
Thank you for sending in your question.
And then I actually made a whole thing for this.
Yes, I will be on touch on Twitter, by the way. And yes, so you can just provide me with your address and stuff, and we're going to try to send out the prizes as soon as possible.
And then the winner for the Bogwin plush is...
Hey.
So that was the winner.
Yes.
Let's see, I'll get the music back on. There we go. So that was TSAT.
TSAT.
So you'll be getting a Bogwin in the mail.
Yes.
And then finally,
For the big kahuna.
for the very final thing, the Owlboy limited edition. Now,
It's one of the last ones we've got.
so this one contains a lot of really interesting things.
Yeah, let's announce the winner and let's go through some of this stuff.
Okay. So the winner of the limited... Just wait till you're done with that. The winner of the limited edition is Book Magic. Congratulations, Book Magic.
Book
You
Magic.
won a limited edition.
Yes, I will be in touch soon, and we will be sending you some items. This limited edition contains a notebook. It looks like this, with Simon's nice graphic on there.
It comes with the full soundtrack. It also comes with some special pins, and along with that, a whole sticker pack
Yeah.
with a bunch of these.
Let's have a quick look at those pins here.
You can just show it from the box.
Oh yeah, here we go. Oh, for Owlboy.
So that's what you will be receiving in the mail in a little bit. All right, everyone.
Yes. Oh, and the instruction manual.
Oh yeah, this
Yeah.
is actually kind of interesting.
It's the only way that you can get the instruction manual at this point.
So the instruction manual here, I actually added custom quotes on every single page
Yes.
from Bogwin's, so you can actually read that at the bottom.
And also a couple of commemorative coins. And that's it.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our stream tonight. I completely forgot where we were. It's weird to do this live again, you know?
Yes, I think we're at the end. We had some cake, and we didn't play Owlboy this year, but we played some Vikings instead. I mean, we kind of had to.
And we'll see where the future brings, because we do have other things that we're going to be announcing later.
Yes.
Not now, but later. And for now, just really happy everyone could stop by. Thank you for staying with us for 6 whole years. It's been amazing to talk to you, seeing all your art and the stuff that you make. It's been great.
Yes.
All right, everyone. For now, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next year.
See you soon. Bye.